It was a crisp Wednesday morning in October 2024, and I was weaving through the aisles of the upscale Greenleaf Market on Cedar Avenue in Oakwood Hills, a posh suburb where the carts glided like they were on ice and the produce gleamed under soft lighting. I'm Calvin Hayes, a guy who likes his steak rare and his days off quiet. Dressed in my go-to flannel and jeans, I was just another shopper grabbing ingredients for a weekend barbecue, blending into the crowd of yoga moms and silver-haired retirees. The store buzzed with the low hum of chatter and the occasional squeak of a cart. I just tossed a couple of prime Wagyu ribeyes into my cart steaks that cost more than some folks' weekly grocery budget when trouble found me like a heat-seeking missile. Out of nowhere, a lanky kid in his early 20s, all swagger and designer sneakers, planted himself in front of my cart. This was Ethan Carter, a rich kid with a smirk that screamed he'd never been told no. His eyes zeroed in on my steaks, and I swear I could see the gears grinding in his head, sizing me up like I'd wandered into the wrong neighborhood. "Hey man," he barked, loud enough to turn heads. "Those steaks are mine. Hand him over." The arrogance in his voice was thicker than the marbling on the Wagyu. I raised an eyebrow, grabbed a bunch of asparagus, and kept moving. No way was I engaging with this nonsense. But Ethan wasn't having it. His face flushed red, and he stepped closer, blocking my path. "Don't play dumb," he snapped. "You don't belong buying stuff like that." The store went quiet, like someone hit mute. Shoppers froze, some pulling out phones to record, others edging away. A woman by the organic kale looked like she was ready to narrate the whole thing. I stayed calm, picking out a bottle of Merlot, but Ethan's tantrum was just getting started. "I'm Ethan Carter," he shouted, as if his name carried a crown. "My mom runs the HOA. You're out of your league here." That's when his mother, Vivian Carter, swooped in like a hawk. Picture a woman who'd never sweated a day in her life, decked out in pristine athleisure that cost more than my car payment. Her blonde hair was flawless, her expression pure indignation. Without missing a beat, she backed her son up. "He's right," she said, her voice sharp enough to slice glass. "Those steaks are for people who actually belong in this community." The audacity was unreal. Here was Vivian, probably driving a Bentley, telling me a black man in a flannel I didn't deserve my groceries. The crowd grew, phones still rolling, a teenage cashier looking like he wanted to disappear. I kept loading my cart, ignoring their theatrics, but Vivian wasn't done. She whipped out her phone and dialed 911, her voice booming for all to hear. "There's a threatening man harassing my son in the grocery store. He's aggressive, and we're not safe." The lie slid out so smoothly, it was clear she'd done this before. I just smiled and said, "Go ahead, call them." Little did she know, she was about to learn who she was messing with. The police showed up fast under 10 minutes, lights flashing in the parking lot. Officers Daniels and Lee walked in, scanning the scene. I knew them from the precinct, but in my off-duty gear, they didn't recognize me. Vivian launched into an Oscar-worthy performance, tears and all, clutching Ethan like he was a damsel in distress. "This man threatened my son over those steaks," she sobbed. "We were just shopping, and he got hostile." Ethan played along, whining about how I'd been in his face. I calmly explained my side. I was shopping, Ethan demanded my groceries, and Vivian escalated it. The officers listened, but I could see the assumptions forming: black guy, casual clothes, versus a respectable HOA president. Vivian pushed her advantage, demanding they check where I lived, implying I was some outsider crashing her gated paradise. Officer Daniels, looking uneasy, asked if I'd show them my address to clear things up. I nodded, still cool as ice, and led the way to my place on Willow Lane. Vivian and Ethan trailed in their gleaming SUV, probably expecting to see me pull into a rundown duplex. Instead, I rolled up to a sleek, two-story modern home with floor-to-ceiling windows and a lawn that could grace a magazine cover. I'd earned this place through 20 years of grinding from patrol officer to detective to Oakwood Hills police chief. As I scanned my fingerprint to open the gate, Ethan let out a choked gasp, and Vivian's face went ghostly pale. "How does someone like you live here?" she blurted, her words dripping with disbelief. The officers exchanged looks, clearly rethinking everything. You'd think that'd be the end of it, but Vivian and Ethan doubled down. The next morning, I found my lawn trash soda cans, burger wrappers, and worse, arranged in a vile message. Ethan took it further, turning harassment into his new hobby. He'd linger on my street, walking his yappy dog for hours or parking his Mustang to stare at my house. Then came the food deliveries, pizzas, tacos, wings I never ordered, with Ethan showing up to scream about me stealing his food. He even posted online, painting me as the neighborhood thief. Vivian, meanwhile, was working the rumor mill, telling neighbors I was a dangerous outsider who'd terrorized her family. Most bought her story. She was the HOA queen, after all. But not everyone. Sarah Thompson, a retired librarian who lived a few doors down, had seen the grocery store showdown and Ethan's antics. She approached me one evening, nervous but resolute. "I've watched that Carter boy harass you," she said. "And Vivian's telling everyone your trouble. It's not right." Her words explained the cold stares from neighbors, but they also lit a spark. Sarah wasn't just a witness, she was an ally. Things escalated when Ethan, emboldened by his mom's lies, parked outside my house one night, blasting music and chucking pebbles at my windows. Sarah knocked on my door, furious. "He's been at it for 20 minutes, and Vivian just called the cops, saying you're stalking them." Sure enough, sirens wailed in the distance. Officers Daniels and Lee arrived, looking fed up. Vivian and Ethan were right behind, her accusing me of spying, him smirking like he'd won. Sarah stepped up, debunking their lies. "Calvin's been inside all day." That's when I'd had enough. I pulled out my badge and ID, my voice steady but firm. "I'm Police Chief Calvin Hayes. Officers, I'll handle this harassment case myself." The air froze. Vivian's composure shattered. Ethan looked like he'd seen a ghost, and Sarah's jaw dropped. The officers snapped to attention, apologized, and left. I warned Vivian and Ethan, one more move, and I'd treat it as a crime against a law enforcement officer. I thought they'd back off, but the next morning, they showed up at my door with a rehearsed apology. Vivian, in a demure dress, claimed they'd mistaken me for a transient and just wanted to protect the neighborhood. Ethan mumbled about looking out for Mom. It was all fake, but I nodded, keeping it professional. Sarah, watching from her window, wasn't fooled. A few days later, she came to me with a bombshell. "Ethan's driving a $60,000 Mustang, wearing $500 sneakers, and posting about Vegas trips," she said. "But Vivian's always crying poor at HOA meetings, pushing new fees for projects that never happen." She pointed to the community park Rusty Swings, no sign of the $10,000 upgrade, Vivian claimed. Sarah had been tracking Vivian's shady deals for years. She showed me a folder of receipts, photos, and HOA budgets. The numbers didn't add up. $70,000 in improvements over 3 years, with nothing to show but Ethan's flashy lifestyle. We dug deeper, finding fake contractor invoices and unbuilt security systems. Ethan's social media was a goldmine. A new watch after a $7,000 landscaping vote. A Miami trip after a $12,000 gate repair. Sarah rallied other neighbors. Mrs. Jenkins, Mr. Lopez, the Parkers had been overcharged for non-existent work. Together, we built a case that screamed fraud. Then Vivian went nuclear. She gave a tearful TV interview, claiming I, a vindictive cop, was targeting her family after a grocery store misunderstanding. She played the helpless single mom, flipping the script to make me the villain. The story blew up local news, then national, with protesters outside the precinct demanding my badge. The mayor, more worried about optics than truth, suspended me pending an investigation. Handing over my badge felt like losing a piece of myself. But Sarah was there, whispering, "Not everyone believes her." Ethan's arrogance was his undoing. High on his mom's media win, he live-streamed himself spray painting my garage, bragging about teaching corrupt cops a lesson. He flashed cash, a $50,000 car, and most damning laughed about how HOA money's ours anyway. He named exact amounts, $10,000 for a playground, $12,000 for cameras, all funneled to his toys. Sarah recorded it, and neighbors spread the video like wildfire. The community flipped. People who'd backed Vivian now demanded answers. Sarah called an HOA meeting, presenting our evidence: bank records, fake contracts, Ethan's posts. It was airtight. We took it to the FBI and the DA, sharing our dossier with reporters who'd aired Vivian's lies. Within days, headlines screamed about the HOA heist. Federal agents raided the Carters' home, seizing records that confirmed our findings. Ethan was arrested first, his livestream making him an easy target. Vivian's perp walk, handcuffed in front of news cameras, was pure poetic justice. She got 4 years for fraud, Ethan, 18 months. The stolen $90,000 was recovered, finally funding the park, cameras, and landscaping Vivian had promised. I was reinstated with apologies from the mayor, who vowed better oversight. Sarah became HOA president, mandating transparent budgets and oversight committees. 6 months later, I hosted a block party, the neighborhood alive with laughter and trust we'd fought for. Sarah's potato salad was a hit, her toast to courage stealing the show. As we cleaned up, a prison van rolled by. Vivian, staring out, saw the community she'd lost. I felt only pity for her fall. Was Vivian a mastermind or just desperate? Should Ethan have gotten a harsher sentence? Could this happen in your town? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more real-life dramas.